Hi, everyone. I'm Maureen Taylor, the photo detective. And I know I haven't done one of these in a long time, and my guest just disappeared. StreamYard is acting really weird today. Oh, sorry. Mitch, if you can hear me or see me, come back. Here we go. Add you to the stage. Here we go. My guest today is Mitch Goldstone, Chief Photo Archivist for ScanMyPhotos.com. Mitch, it's great to see you and have you back on. I don't know what this is, my Facebook, YouTube Live. It's not really a podcast, but you've been on my podcast, The Photo Detective, several times. So
Maureen,
thank you.
great to be with you. You're everywhere.
Yeah, that's what people say. I don't feel like it, though. I feel like I could always be more places. You're everywhere, Mitch. You're on every television station, newspaper, and magazine. But the reason I asked Mitch to do this today is because I saw one of his social posts and it made me go, what the heck? You posted that you're scanning people's slides, right? They send you a carousel. So you don't even need to take them out of the carousel anymore, which I love so
Yeah,
much. But then you say, okay, your scans are ready. And they say, I don't want the photos back.
indeed. Not just for slides, but for reels of home movies, photos, negatives, and all. I always encourage people to have us send back the analog content just as a backup. I know it's all about uncluttering and organizing, but just keep it in a box, safe place, not in mildew, garage, basement, attic.
Yeah. I mean, I always advise people to keep their photos because, um, I mean, digital stuff is unstable. Are they
It
paying
is.
for, are they paying for long-term storage? I mean, their hard drive isn't going to last forever. The photos,
Indeed.
the photos
Indeed.
will last for maybe forever if they're the real ones. Um, but I mean, it's not the first time I've encountered this. Uh, Early on in my career, when well, early on when scanners were first available, because I go back a long way. I know you do.
Me too.
Uh, I gave a lecture, and someone said, "Oh, I'm going to scan my photos, and then I'm going to throw all the originals away." And I was like, wait, just a minute. Don't do that. I mean, this is a preservation method, but it is not necessarily permanent. What do you say?
Maureen, you're right. You're right. What we do at Scan My Photos now is we digitally archive everyone's files. It's backed up, so if there's ever a problem, just to reach out to us and we'll resend it. We keep it up to a year based on your selection, but it's so important when you get the digital files back to make backups. Keep it off site. Obviously, put it in the cloud. Use one of the popular cloud storage services and make backup copies, flash drives, and give it to friends, relatives. Maureen, I just had a customer from 7 years ago. They said we gave them a flash drive and it didn't work, which is, we review everything. It's always perfect before it goes out. Who knows what happened over 7 years? That flash drive could have been on a heated radiator, wherever. And that's why it's so important to make these backups. But with the slide carousels, because it's so inexpensive, I think it's like $60 for full slide carousel to have everything digitized. Afterwards, have us send those back to you as well. I know they're more bulky, but it's important. We've been doing a lot of surveys lately, and two of the other ones that I'm really stunned with 96% of all photos, analog photos, have not been seen since they were first developed, which means people got them home exactly. And especially as the photo detective, that must blow your mind that people do that.
Well, you know, I've seen it all by now. And there are people who leave film in cameras, right? They don't ever develop the camera, the film in the camera when we used to have film cameras. And then yeah, I mean, how often do people look at their photographs? I mean, I'm the photo detective, right? I mean, I love my photographs. I make photo books for everybody for the holidays. Even the baby has her own little, like, this is my first year, and she loves to sit and look at all the pictures of herself with everybody and identify the family members. But we put them in a digital frame. We have our vacation photos. It's like a memory test sometimes. I'm like, where were we when you took that photograph exactly? And we play them on a loop so we can relive our vacations. But I mean,
It's staggering.
are there photographs that I haven't looked at since they were taken? I would find that I don't think so, because we have photo albums that we drag out. And my mom was really great about this. She would drag out all the family photographs, like in the winter when we were like, having a blizzard and it was like terrible and there was nothing for us to do and we drive her crazy. She'd be like, let's look at the photographs. And she'd drag them out and we'd go through them one by one. And so I, definitely credit her with me being the photo detective. But, we always looked at our photographs over and over again. They're even a little worn because we looked at them over and over again. Uh,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad you're in the 4%. After the CBS Evening News feature on my company ran, I think it changed things a bit where people started to ask, well, where are my photos? Where are all those slides? And it's interesting, when last we spoke, I was talking all about social media for sharing the photos, not just the recent ones, the food you ate last night, stuff on your camera roll, but all those generations, decades past pictures of grandparents no one's ever seen, narrate, share the stories. So that was social media. But since we spoke, the newest tool being used, and the reason why photo scanning is so rapidly taking over again, is because of AI. And it's so cool where you can upload the pictures we digitize, the negatives, slides, all of that to AI, and some cool stuff, Maureen, almost at your level. You could ask, where was this taken? When was it taken? Tell me about
Mitch,
the background. Go ahead.
the
Go
stuff
ahead.
I can't, I just can't. It's pretty good, but I'm the photo detective. This is what I do. I look at photographs, I tell people about them, but the AI does not do the context.
Oh
Uh,
no, not at your level. We're talking first grade versus, TED Talk masterclass at your level.
right,
But
thank you.
it's a starting point. It's a starting point.
Thank you.
Most definitely not. That's your expertise. And that's what's so great about you, because it's not AI with all of its faults.
No, I didn't spend all these decades getting this knowledge, but I mean, it is the way of the world right now. We have, actually, somebody I know pretty well said that they couldn't believe the 4% figure, that only 4% look at their
It's
picture.
staggering. It is staggering. And when you think of how many photos people have, slides and all, that are hidden away in boxes that haven't been seen, I had asked customers. So we did a poll, the survey of 250 customers, asking before they had their pictures digitized, when was the last time you looked at them? And that's where the 96% came from. They saw a story, USA Today or the CBS Evening News, Today Show, all of that, and it inspired them to go and find those boxes. And they're all unfortunately dusty, potential mildew, and they're hidden away in the worst places, garages, attics, all of that.
Oh, I know. I know the places you shouldn't store anything. Here's a funny thing. So, in keeping with this conversation that we're having, I was going through boxes of stuff just to make sure, like, what other stuff had I not scanned, right? Because maybe I had it in an album, but I didn't have it scanned. And I came across this little thing.
Nice.
Is my brag book from fifth grade. And
Can I see it? Can I see a picture? Nice.
yeah, there are little photographs in here from a class play. Wow, that was a long time ago. Yeah, that was maybe it was before fifth grade. But I'm gonna scan them. I guess I never scanned them. There's my, you know, kindergarten and before kindergarten best friends, and I remember their names. So maybe I need to do a little research and see if I can find them. But
Oh, fun.
this little book is fun. This little book is fun.
And that's what photography is, as you know, is all about. It's about narration, storytelling, share the experiences, and get everyone else from in that brag book, if you can find them, to reminisce. It makes it so much fun.
Well, I'm going to put some of them up on our class Facebook page.
Nice.
If anybody can identify some of those people, because I'm not sure I can identify all of them, because, you know, kids come and go, right, through your school career. But I mean, once you have them digitized, it's so important to have your images digitized for a couple of reasons. One, you have them digitized with preservation methods, which I know you do. I know Forever does. I know a lot of places do the stuff. But also, once you have them digitized, then you can share them. You can look at them without dragging out the boxes. You know, your cousins will want to see them. Other family members will be like, what? You have that? I didn't know you had that. And you're off and running. Family history is happening and storytelling is happening, which is what we've just been talking about.
Absolutely. It is, and it's all about storytelling. I'm also kind of a good listener too, and I'm always engaging people, asking them questions and all. And there was Maureen. This one's heartbreaking, but it had a great happy ending. There was a woman. Her name's Charmaine in Texas, outside Dallas, and she reached out saying she had gotten a gift certificate to scan my photos 4 years prior from her children, and she never scanned them. So what I did, and I'm starting to do this more often, I surprised her. I said, let me get on an airplane, pick up all of your photos. I will be there at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And she was startled. And then I said, by the way, where do you live? Because we're in Southern California. And she said, outside Dallas. So I will be there tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, if you'd like. Pick everything up. And this is our latest innovation, which people really like. That was the next survey. 38% of everyone now is including GPS trackers like Apple AirTag, Tiles, and the others. So she said she wouldn't be ready on that Friday at 8 a.m. How about the following? I think it was Tuesday. I said, done. I rang her doorbell, 8 a.m., and I flew in the night before to make sure I would be there. And then it hit me why what we do is so important. I arrived to tornado warnings, the wind, the rain, unimaginable. And that's what reminded me that, you know, if she didn't have these scanned, it could be gone in an instant with everything else. So I arrived, I met her and her husband. I told them that I'm giving them a GPS tracking device. It was a tile tag that was put in, and they could follow the journey. And I said, I have one caveat. And they were wondering, what, Mitch, what's the catch? You flew all the way out here to pick up my photos. So when I said, there's one thing I want you to know, and both of them were like, oh, here it goes, here it goes. And I said, your photos are going to arrive in Irvine, California late this afternoon, but you'll see I'm going to Salt Lake City first. And they're like, what? I said, because I couldn't get a nonstop. So their pictures went to Salt Lake City, to Irvine. 1 hour later, that's where the magic happened. They got an email. All of their photos were digitized and uploaded to their inbox. Everything was returned the next morning with the GPS tag. And I share this because the greatest lesson is you got to listen to people for great ideas. And it was from that how much she liked the GPS tracking to follow the journey from beginning to return, that we welcome it for all customers. And now 38% of all photo scanning orders include it. You know, it's like, it shouldn't just be for luggage or keys.
No, I mean, you can use it for lots of things, but it's a great innovation, Mitch, because what's the number one thing I hear from people about not wanting to send their photographs out to be professionally scanned? They're going to get lost in the mail. Now, this doesn't prevent them from getting lost in the mail, but at least you can figure out where they might have ended up.
Absolutely. And that's never happened with us, but it is kind of cool though, because, and that was over time too, where we added archival services where all of your photos are stored at the highest resolution for 4,000 DPI for slides, negatives, 600 DPI for photos. And if there's ever an issue, we press a button and in your inbox is everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's great. We got a one little comment question from this woman Penny, who said that she inherited another family's Victorian photo album, and she figured out many of the photos, and I think the original owner. But then she said the album is falling apart. The photos are mostly in good shape. What should I do with it? I'm not quite sure what you're thinking about, Penny. Are you thinking about donating it to a local historical society, which might work out if that family lived in that area? I've got one of those that I picked up somewhere that I'm trying to donate right now. Or if you're just saying that, well, how can you deal with the fact that the album's falling apart? Basically, you can wrap it in acid-free tissue paper and put it in a reinforced box. Archival box, Gaylord.com sells whatever you might need for that. And it sounds like you just have one, so a small box should work. That's how I would deal with that. Anybody have any questions for Mitch about the process of, I will say that Scan My Photos is always on the cutting edge of the scanning, right? You're I think the first people.
Yeah. That's how we got the name, Maureen. That's how we got the name. So when my business partner Carl and I came up with this idea, we were in the photo developing business, owning retail photo labs before. So when we came up with bulk high-speed photo scanning, specifically, it was August 14th, 2008, when I had reached out to David Pogue, who's on CBS Sunday Morning, greatest guy in the world. And prior, David was the consumer tech columnist at the New York Times. And I had reached out to him on a Sunday and I said, David, I can scan 1,000 photos in under 5 minutes. And he actually wrote back and he said, I don't believe it. So I showed him the video and he said, this is really cool. I'm going to put you in the New York Times. It'll be in 2 weeks, August 14th, 2008. But I want to let you know, I only write about the biggest companies. So when this comes out, everything's going to crash because that's what happened the only other time I profiled a small business. And Maureen, you know me, of course. I said, no, don't worry, don't worry. And he was right. We recovered, and that's what put us on the map. But because we were the first that we pioneered bulk high-speed photo scanning, there was no market. So we were able to come up with singular, not just me, but the world's greatest name for this business, Scan My Photos, that Inc. magazine wrote a feature story on the country's 2 best names. The other one was a restaurant in New York, and they came up with the name Thai Restaurant Nearby.
Yours is far better.
There you go.
Far better. Far better. Yeah. Penny wants to give the album to somebody, so she needs to find a descendant using maybe Ancestry.com is your best, the biggest.
Maureen, what do you recommend for that? Because I hear that a lot, where people just have old slides, images from decades ago, and they don't want to throw them out. They don't know how they inherited it, all of that. Is there some place that you could donate? You mentioned historical societies.
So historical societies might take what you have. You have to talk to them and see if they want it. It has to be a family that's associated with that area for the most part. Some people want to find living descendants, which you can do by building a tree on Ancestry.com and trying to, go forward with that tree and use obituaries and that kind of thing to move forward in time to find somebody who you might be able to donate them with. I prefer that they get donated to a historical society or museum if they'll take them, because in less than a generation, it'll be the same problem. They'll get tossed, or somebody won't want them and they'll go back. But I feel that if they go to a library or museum, then they'll be available for everyone.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a process to the whole thing. Now, somebody said, how do I scan my parents' photo albums? Well, certainly you can hire a professional service like Scan My Photos. I was actually just scanning. I had a lot of scanning to catch up on today, and I have a flatbed scanner, and I do, most of my scanning myself for my work photos. Um, this person says the photos are actually stuck on sheets. This
Mm.
sounds like it's a magnetic album, one of those things with poor quality plastic and glue. You're going to have to scan them stuck on the sheets, likely, and then do image improvement. But you use AI for image improvement, correct?
Right. So some of those pictures that you just shared, if they're all old, faded, discolored, you can
Right.
ask AI chat to enhance it. But we added that service on with Scan My Photos. It's the number one featured product now. It's called Fix and Restore. That makes it look brand new. So that's been really good. I was just thinking though, it's not just genealogists and
No.
individuals, but there are giant corporations, companies. We're working on this massive scanning project for a museum in California of all of their slides and photos. It's been a year and a half already, but another one. This was unusual because I'm sure you hear from people far away sometimes, and you may be curious, like, I don't know. Well, I got an email from someone in the Cayman Islands. That should set off the first alarm, right?
Right.
So, no more. I love the Cayman Islands. It was actually the country's largest media outlet. They had their 57 years of history, 347,000 film negatives that needed to be digitized, protected from the hurricanes. So, we did it. And the coolest thing I share with you to give ideas to everyone listening is what next? So the Cayman Islands created a gallery, which is the National Gallery in the Cayman Islands, of all of the images. There were pictures of Queen Elizabeth no one's ever seen when the Beatles visited. And they also are posting it on social media. I'll send you a link to it on Instagram. And the comments are just precious. I remember that person, the memories over 57 years that no
Right.
one's seen.
Right. So you can record your memories of those slides and pictures through some of the websites. Like I think the My Heritage app, I think, has that, as does Ancestry.com. Who else does it? Storied, maybe. Um, a lot of the genealogy companies are now getting into upload your photograph, and then in our app, you can record your memory, which is kind of cool. Some you were asking what happens to all these old slides that nobody wants, right? Somebody
Yeah.
might like they don't want them. We got rid of boxes and boxes of my in-laws slides. I mean, they took slides everywhere they went, never looked at them again. I mean, what were we going to do with pictures of their trips? It didn't mean anything to us. But on Instagram and on TikTok, there's a guy, I had him on my podcast, young guy. Vintage Film Finds is
Oh,
his thing on TikTok, and he collects slides.
oh, cool. What does he
That's,
do with it?
he loves them. He just likes the storytelling part of them. He just shows them on his Instagram page, and I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. I'll put it up on the screen so people can see. These are
Oh,
slides that they just abandoned. Like they don't want them anymore. They don't even know who the people are. Nice guy. He's got, I don't know, 150,000 slides now, or I don't know, so many.
what's the name so I could look at it?
Vintage Film Finds.
I love that. I would, Maureen, if I did that, I'd be killed because that goes against all of our privacy issues. We don't do anything. It's all for the customer. We would never post
Right.
anything. But if it's his for that, I love that idea. How much fun. You never know what you're going to see.
He's having fun with it because he's looking at slides from the 40s and the 50s
Wow.
um, that people didn't want with people in them.
Wow. Do
Identify
people send them to him or
to him.
oh, how much fun is that?
I know it's his hobby. He loves it. And, slides are small, so he can have a lot of them and not look like he has, a room full. But anyway, anybody have any questions for Mitch? I just wanted him to come on because I haven't talked to him in so long. And Mitch, your company is always innovating, but also you are the master of publicity. You are everywhere, always. So you can say I'm everywhere, but that's not true. But Scan My Photos and Mitch, you have a gift for storytelling. A gift.
Thank you. I credit it actually with my dad that got me into this business. And if anyone goes to the website, it's so emotional. I put the story there with the picture. This is how, and I got to ask you also how you started. I was 6 years old at Disneyland, and my dad was hugging me, and we took a picture. And that was the only memory I have of him. It was one of the only pictures. He passed away shortly afterwards. And that was my lesson about the power of photography that got me into this all these years later. How did you get into becoming the photo detective?
I mentioned earlier that my mom used to drag out the boxes of photographs, right, from her side of the family. I have hardly any photographs of my dad's side of the family. And we look at them and tell stories, and she would reminisce about her parents. And maybe we had one picture or two pictures of her grandparents. And that's what we would do. I mean, at least once a year, we would drag out all those boxes and look at them. And I was always interested in history anyway. Even as a tiny little kid, I had a weird habit, but I loved, I always thought I would be an archaeologist. But in fact, I became a photo detective. And then I started, I thought I went to college and I thought I'm going to be an archaeologist. And they assigned me an advisor. And he said, what do you want to do that for? He goes, you can do so much more with history. And I was like, really? And I'm a total history nerd. And I just had lunch with him. He's still with us. I just had lunch with him a few weeks ago, and we were reminiscing, and he was like, remember when you wanted to be an archaeologist? I was like, yeah, I do, but I've never looked back. So thank you for saving me that. And then I worked for a historical society, and my first job was working in their photo department. And as I looked at their photographs, I was like, this is it. This is everything I've ever done, right? The history, the fashion, the everything I'd ever really wanted to connect to history was there in those pictures. I was like, this is it. And there's just no going back. This is it. This is what I've been doing forever. Love it.
Wow.
I love what
I mentioned. I think that's wonderful. And that I mentioned the museum, the very large one we're working with now, and they too, the images no one's ever seen, so historic, and they have to get out there. And the key part then is sharing, and how do you engage other people?
How do you engage other people? That's key. So I got a couple of pictures from Louise. She wants to know, can you scan slides that are stored in carousels? We've been talking about that, Louise. Yes. Scan My Photos. You just send them the carousel, right, Mitch?
Yep, $59.95, any quantity up to 200, I think 140, however many fit in it, and they're all digitized.
Yeah, and a high resolution.
Yep.
Oops. Yeah, high resolution. And then Louise wants to know, can AI organize groups of digitized photos, such as recognizing similar faces? So Louise, I will say that if you have a photo organizer with really good facial recognition, like, all right, I'm a forever.com ambassador now. Their facial recognition is like some of the best that I've ever used. It does organize them, but you have to go in and accept to make sure the faces are all the same, because people do look like other people. So sometimes that can be a problem. But most,
I like that, and that's Glenn's company, right?
Yeah, that's Glenn Meacham's company, right?
Yeah, great. Glenn is what a history he has. What a great guy. We've over time become content providers for them, for everyone, because we do all the digitizing and people upload it for that reason. Yeah, Glenn is a really cool guy.
He's a cool guy. It's a cool company. I don't know why it took me so long to become a forever.com ambassador, but I can work with people with their photos now, and I'm very happy with it. It's a good platform. So yes, Louise, yeah, it is possible to organize your photos with AI through facial recognition. Be happy to talk with you about it. Send me an email. It's cool. Mitch, this has been wonderful.
As always, you're the best. Everything you do. Is there something? I know Rootstack's so far away, but is there something like the newest thing you're excited about in genealogy and photography?
I have been just, using new products. I've been doing a lot with metadata. Actually, some of my colleagues now call me the metadata maven, because metadata is not portable. And it's a problem in the genealogy fields, and fields in general. You add all of your metadata, meaning your description and people and everything, to whatever photo organizer you're using, and there's no guarantee that all that information then gets transferred from another platform. Which is why I landed with Forever, because they were very responsive. I said, listen, I have this platform. They're not going to do their photo organizer anymore. I can't read all my metadata. What are we going to do here? This is a huge public relation nightmare for me, the company, and everybody else. And he got right on it. We had some high-level meetings, and they made some tweaks, and it looks pretty good.
That's great. That's one of the things I really admire about Glenn. There are not many people like that. I'm up at 2 in the morning. I'm up all the time coming up with ideas. And the important thing is not just coming up with the idea, but implementing it. And I think Glenn is a lot like me, where it's fire, ready, aim. Whereas come up with an idea, just go for it, and then step back and aim, fire, all that stuff. But just to do it rather than just think about it.
Exactly. He's an action kind of guy. I'm an action person. Yeah, I've mostly been learning everything I can learn about all the different platforms and metadata and how they all work. So now I'm offering these one-on-one, I don't know, you don't want to call them a workshop. We call them cohort sessions, where you can hire me, work with me one-on-one. I go through everything that you're doing, say, this is great. This, you're just going to duplicate your efforts over and over again if you do it this way. Here's how you use facial recognition, everything. And I'm really excited about it. I love working with people one-on-one. That makes my day.
Do you have a I don't remember. Do you have a link on your website for that?
My website's under reconstruction. So I will shortly, and I will make that available to you.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Mitch, do you scan front and back of the photos? Penny wants to know.
We do, for you as the ultimate storyteller, absolutely, please, if there's handwritten messages on the back, just select front and back scanning. So important, because that's where the whole story is, not just the handwriting, but the message is all about that. And if we're only digitizing your pictures, the back may have all the contents, the mysteries behind it.
So how do you number them when you do the front and the back?
It goes, so the first image will be the front, the second one will be the back, and sequentially. Most people use index cards to batch them, separate them, and that index card is also scanned, which is really nice. So you can write down as much as you want, and that's scanned. So it's kind of a narration of an index of what all the following pictures will be. Holiday, birthdays, all of that.
Right, because you have to prepare to send your stuff out, and index cards are a great way to do that. You can put an index for, like, this is the Smith family, this is Mrs. Smith, this is, you can organize them that way. So when you scan them, when they come back, you know what you have. Sort of like a microfilm, where you have the little card in the beginning and it says, this is the pension index from this name to this name. This is what you're doing with your photographs. So they scan. Same thing.
Yeah.
Mitch, great having you on.
As always, you're the best. Thank you so much.
Let's do it again before too long, and I'll send you the link for the cohort sessions as soon as that web designer of mine finishes the page.
Great. You're the best. Have a great day.
Thanks. You too. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Maureen.